Hello and welcome to the Vine Life Podcast. I'm Tony Clark, your host, and today I've got a special guest on the program. I've got a singer-songwriter, a producer, painter, comedian, and author, and her name is Kelly Lang. Now, Kelly has graced the stage of the Grand Ole Opry and the Ryman Auditorium. She has performed with legends of entertainment such as Barry Gibb, Roddy Millsap, Mickey Gilley, George Strait, Brenda Lee, George Jones, Loretta Lynn, T.G. Sheppard, Olivia Newton-John, and many, many more. She also has a new single out that's called I Think It's Jesus, of which we'll go into detail and discuss today. And more information about Kelly can be found at kellylang.net. So, Kelly, again, it's a blessing that you would agree to do this, and thank you for coming on.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful for people like yourself to be able to share new music. And isn't it wonderful, the era that we're in, to be able to do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. With our internet age today. Now, Kelly, I did want to jump right in. I know your time is short, so I want to talk about your new single, I Think It's Jesus. It's a phenomenal single. It's a phenomenal song. What was the genesis? What made you create and write this song?
It was a fluke, total fluke. I took my daughter to see Brooks and Dunn in concert here in Nashville. And Brooks and Dunn's, they're great. They're fun. They're wonderful. But I didn't expect to have a religious experience at a Brooks and Dunn concert. So I thought it was really interesting that I got chills when I heard him sing Red Dirt Road. When he sang the line, that's where I found Jesus. And then he sang I Believe. And then I just had a full out ugly cry. And you know what? I wasn't alone. There were a lot of people around me that were having the same effect. And I thought, whoa, if I could bottle that, what is that? What's that universal thing all of us humans have? And has it ever been written about? So I came home and I was thinking about other universal signs. Like, you know, when I think of my dad who passed 25 years ago, sometimes a red bird will just kind of sit there and stare at me. And that happened that next day. And I see a lot of numbers in succession, and I see, you know, feathers or coins where random things, you know. And I knew that I wasn't the only one that was feeling these. You can Google these phenomenons or coincidences, as some people might think. But I just felt that it needed a real secure reason as to what was going on behind this. So I was just bold enough to name it I Think It's Jesus.
Again, it's a phenomenal song. And you're mostly known, I guess, in the country music industry as a writer, performer, and all of those things. Now, this song is really, it seems you're digging down in your faith. Not that you don't in your other songs, but this is primarily about your faith. Did you get any feedback or maybe negative reaction for being this open about your faith in song?
Well, I figured that I would. Actually, other things have been happening that have been a little odd, you know, just like you think if you're singing about a positive situation, especially when you have Jesus's name in a song, you think that people would be kind about it. But some people have been, or things in my life have been confused, like doing a Facebook feed that's been blocked, or certain communication things have been blocked. It's almost like Satan's going, we're not getting this song out, you know. But the realization of it is, I think people are craving something that unites us all. And I think people, it's not a gospel song. It's not a hymnal kind of song. It's a human song. It's a, hey, do y'all feel this too? And could it possibly be the same for you? You know, it's really not beating people over the head with scriptures or Bible. I just wanted to pose the question that perhaps this could be the reason for all of this coincidence stuff going on. And, I've been really pleased with the positive reaction from, I'd say, 99% of people. And a lot of people, I've noticed if somebody says anything negative, the 99 come to my defense on that. So, and I'm not looking for that. I simply am a woman of faith. I always have been. I'm proud to share it. I'm grateful for God and Christ in my life. And I'm just not ashamed to share it. I think now is the time that we should even be more bold with our feelings without being obnoxious, of course. And this is just a light way of sharing that without that.
Well, you've been very open about the foundation of your faith before. You've got an autobiography called "I'm Not Going Anywhere," and you're very open about your struggles with cancer.
Hmm.
And that autobiography, um, do you and it had something to do with COVID as well. Can you kind of encapsulate that for the audience about
Yes.
your struggles with cancer? And you talk about that it wasn't a death sentence, but a life sentence as well with your
That's
cancer
right.
diagnosis. What did you mean by that?
Well, during the pandemic, obviously all of us had more time on our hands than normal. I needed to clean my garage out. It was just a eyesore. TG and I, my husband TG Sheppard and I, we just had a lot of memorabilia, a lot of boxes that we had from our past that we just hadn't looked into, and we kept moving them from place to place. So I thought, no, 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 I want to clean everything out and just start fresh. So I happened to run into a bunch of papers that I had written when I was diagnosed. I am now 18 years out from my breast cancer diagnosis, so that's a miracle in itself. But at the time, it was 16 years at the time. And my friend called me that night and she said, I dreamt that you wrote a book and it helped a lot of people. And I said, wow, I don't even like to read, rather less write, you know. She said, no, I think it would help. And I said, does it have anything to do with these papers that I found in the garage? And she said, actually, it does. So it got me thinking, you know, I can't do this on my own. My friend Missy Query from Texas was so kind to help me organize my thoughts and put things together for me. And Olivia Newton-John, who is obviously, she's passed now, but at the time she wrote the foreword to my book. And I learned a lot of life lessons from her. And one of the things that I learned from her, sprinkled throughout the book, is a lot of her voices in my head, was the power of positive thinking. And no matter what your circumstances is, you can find something. I mean, look, you and I are talking to each other on a computer. We have eyes, we have ears, we have electricity, obviously. There's a lot to be thankful for that we just take for granted every day. And she taught me to see those little tiny things. So when I say cancer could be considered a death sentence, yes, indeed, it can be. But with a shift of your brain and your mind, a hard choice sometimes that you make, I chose to look at it as my life sentence, because at 36 years old, when I was diagnosed, I had two little girls. I didn't have a choice other than to pretend like everything was okay. I didn't want them to be fearful. I chose to look at the sky as more blue and the grass as more green, and I use my good china and I use my good sheets and I burn my candles now. Whereas before, I might have saved them for a rainy day, or, you know, now I live much more boldly and more abundantly with that mindset. And I think it's something that we could learn prior to having a diagnosis like that.
Ellie, with your struggles with cancer and your autobiography, and now this song, what kind of feedback have you gotten from maybe other cancer patients, other folks that are struggling? The positive feedback that you've gotten. Can you talk about some of those stories, maybe?
Sure. For a long time, I did not want to talk about it. I just wanted it behind me. I didn't want to be defined as the girl with cancer, you know, because for years it was so weird. People would go, how are you feeling? And I was 10 years out, you know, your color is good. What was I supposed to be, green the rest of my life, you know? So I didn't want to even draw any attention to it. But I saw the impact that Olivia had on millions of people, and how insightful and inspirational that she was to these people that were newly diagnosed. And I had a shift in my mind then too, because I thought, if I had had someone like me when I was first diagnosed to look forward to and see a light at the end of the tunnel, even if I don't know anything of what that person's going through, the fact that I'm still alive might be all they got to hold on to. And so she did not verbally encourage me, just by her being who she was, encouraged me to open up and be an open vessel to people. And you know, it's not necessarily something I would promote per se, but I've been known to take a few of my friends that need to go to the doctor. I'll sit there and hold their hand, and you know, I've learned the impact of just being a friend from her, and what difference that makes. And sometimes it's just simply smiling. Just give your smile away. It's free, you know. It doesn't hurt you to do that. So I've learned that the importance of sharing my story might be the difference in somebody getting up the next day. And not that I'm that powerful, but sometimes you don't know what the other person's going through. And so I like to look at people and pray for them, even though they don't even know I'm doing that sometimes.
Very wise, very compassionate. Now, this song, the new single that you've got out, I Think It's Jesus. Is this going to be part of a bigger album, or do you have more music coming that relates to this song?
I do. At first, I was only going to do an EP, just a few songs, and then it started building. I've also gone back into my catalog and pulled songs from albums that my fans now might not have been aware of, and retweaking them and reworking them a little bit and bringing them up to more current speed. So there's a few things from past experiences from my albums, a few new things that I have written. There's a song called Life Sentence that I put out last October that will land on this album. It didn't have an album to begin with. But this new project is coming out this fall, and it's called Dragonfly. And I'm really, really excited to share this with you guys, because it's not a gospel album per se, but every song has something inspirational or connected to.
I have to ask, dear, are you getting any collaboration with your husband, T.G. Sheppard, on this?
No, but we are in the process of recording a new duet project that will be out in Valentine's. So we're in the studio together all the time. Matter of fact, we're going today to put background vocals on a few things that I'm working on. But we're constantly dreaming and working together and traveling and singing together, and it just made sense that we would go back and do another duet project.
And Kelly, I know that your time is very short. I want to be respectful of that. But you can find out more information about Kelly at kellylang.net. And Kelly, I have to tell you, looking over your website, it's very impressive. It's easy to navigate, and you've got a ton of things from your music, your books, your photos, and also great merchandise as well. Do you want to speak about how folks can find more about you through your website?
Well, the website's super. I think there's too much on there. I thank you for saying that, because I wear myself out. I paint, I write my book, obviously. There's an audio book within there. There's stories, there's photos with friends of ours. There's a lot there. If you dig into all of the little tabs, you'll probably be exhausted and not want to hear more about me. But I wanted it to be an easy place for people to go and get anything that they would want. And I'm hoping that they will enjoy that. kellylang.net is that, and it's our home base. And we'll be changing it as the album rolls out. There's some graphic things that we're going to be changing along the way. But for the most part, it's a fun site. I enjoy it.
And this new song, you shot a video for that as well. Again, I know your time is short, but can you speak of that very quickly?
I love the video. I think I'm a very elementary visual person, and I just think there's no question. You don't leave anything on the table when you see this video. There's no doubt what I personally felt when making the video. And some people may or may not like it. I don't know, but it was a very spiritual moment for me to be able to put all of what's in my head and then see it play out on film. And I think it's moving. And I think if you know of somebody that's listening to us here, if you know of somebody that maybe have lost somebody recently, or is hurting, or is wandering in life, and they might need a little bit of guidance, send them the video. It's comforting. I think they'll enjoy it.
Well, I'll certainly do that. And I will provide all of your links below the video as well. And if you're listening on a podcast, you can go to kellylang.net. And she has all of the links up there as well. So Kelly, I can't thank you enough for coming on and talking about your song. I think it's Jesus. But again, you're a blessing, and I will ask you to hang on 30 seconds post-interview. But thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you, Tony. You're so kind. Thank you.
Thank you. And until next time.